Let's look at this episode of Prime Puzzles now. 5 countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are in contention to conduct a sports meet. The eventual winner is determined through several rounds of voting by member countries in the federation, with each member representing a different country. All 5 countries in contention are also members of the federation. In any round of voting, the country that gets the lowest number of votes gets eliminated. The survivor of the last round of voting gets to host the event. So effectively, there are 5 countries, so there should be 4 rounds of voting, because in every round, one country will get eliminated. Okay. A member is allowed to vote for at most 2 different countries in all the rounds combined. Hence, a member becomes ineligible to vote if both the countries he voted for in the earlier rounds are out of contention in that round. So a member country gets disbarred from voting if they have voted for 2 countries and those 2 countries are out of running for winning the entire voting process. So the earliest a member can be barred from voting is in the third round. You will not be barred in the second round because by then you have only voted for one country. The earliest somebody can be disbarred from voting is in the third round. Okay. A member is also ineligible to vote in a round if the country he or she represents is in the contention in that round of voting, and any member who is eligible must vote and vote for only one country in any round. The following incomplete table shows the information of countries that received the maximum and minimum number of votes in the different rounds and the total number of votes cast in that round. And then we have the table, then we have certain pieces of information. And then we have how many votes did, and we have the individual questions. We'll get to the questions later. Let us try and capture all the information appropriately. We have the 5 countries. So this will be rounds. This will be total votes. First country, Brazil, then Russia, then India, then China, then South Africa. Okay. So this will be round 1. This will be round 2. This will be round 3. And this will be round 4. Let me go ahead and write it down. Round number or total votes cast. Then Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So round 1, 2, 3, 4. Total votes cast in the second round, according to the table, 112, 108, and 107. Okay. Now, the interesting thing to note is we have been told this data point. No, a member is also ineligible to vote in a round if the country he or she represents is in contention in that round of voting, and any member who is eligible must vote and vote for only one country in any round. So now, see, in first round, Brazil had 34 votes and China had 14 votes. China got minimum votes, 14. So which means in the subsequent round, China is definitely not voting. China is not receiving any votes. But from the first round to the second round, can you see the total count of votes will go up by 1 on account of the fact that in the previous round, China was ineligible to vote. But in the subsequent round, China is now voting. And so far, nobody would have been disbarred from voting. So can I go ahead and say total number of votes in the first round would be 111. Total votes cast in the first round will be 111, and it would be Brazil would get the highest votes, China would get the lowest votes. In the second round, we have India having the maximum number of votes, 40, and South Africa having the minimum number of votes. So this is gone and this is gone. As in round 3 and round 4, South Africa will not receive any votes. Okay. Now in the third round of voting, Brazil has 43 votes. Russia has 23 votes. Because there are only 3 countries left in the running, India will have the remaining votes, which is 42. This we know. And in the final round of voting, Russia will not be there and Brazil will win. This much we know, Brazil will win. Okay, now see, ideally, from here to here, our count of votes should have gone up by 1. In round 2, South Africa was ineligible to vote, but in round 3, South Africa has become eligible. So our count of voters should have gone up by 1. We should have had 113 voters in round 3, but we have only got 108 voters, which would mean there are 5 voters. There are 5 voters which have been disbarred from voting in the third round. A member is allowed to vote for at most 2 different countries in all the rounds combined. So some bad luck person, they voted for China in the first round, and then they voted for South Africa in the second round, and now they are unable to vote anymore. Therefore, they are not in the total count. And how many people are there? How many such people are there? There are 5 such people. Ideally, from round 2 to round 3, the total count of votes should have gone up by 1. But the fact that it is going down by 4 means 5 countries have been disqualified from voting. They have become ineligible to vote. And which would those 5 countries be? Those 5 countries would be ones that voted for China in the first round and then voted for South Africa in the second round. These 5 people. Okay. Now, let us read the rest of the information that is given. All those who voted for Brazil, India, and Russia in any round continued to vote for the same country as long as these 3 countries were in contention. Okay. So, if as long as Brazil, Russia, and India are in contention, the members who have voted for Brazil, India, and Russia will continue to vote for Brazil, India, and Russia. Okay. 20% of those who voted for South Africa in round 1 voted for India in round 2. Okay. So some people from South Africa have chosen to vote for India in round 2. Some people from South Africa have chosen to vote for India in round 2. Now see, wonderful thing. 20% of people from South Africa have chosen to vote for India in round 2. So 80% remains here. 4/5 of the total remains here. Now, voters for South Africa have to be greater than 14. Total voters for South Africa have to be greater than 14. And the remaining 80% people, they can potentially go to Russia, they can potentially go to Brazil, and they can potentially continue. They can go to Russia, they can go to Brazil, or they can potentially continue. Okay. But can you see the voters for South Africa in the previous round have to be 15 because 5 voters are coming from China. 5 voters who voted for China in round 1 have voted for South Africa in round 2. So 17 if it has, so it has got 12 from the previous round, 12 voters from the previous round continuing. And because it will not receive any voters from Brazil, it will not receive any voters from Russia, it will not receive any voters from India. Can you see 12 original voters? Let me put it this way. 12 original voters have continued to vote for South Africa in round 1 and round 2. They have continued. Okay, so 3 voters from South Africa have moved on to India. 3 voters from South Africa have moved on to India from round 1 to round 2. 3 voters have moved on from South Africa to India. Okay, those who voted for China in round 1 voted either for India or South Africa in round 2. So out of the 14 people who voted for China, 5 have voted for South Africa. So the remaining 9 will also vote for India. Remaining 9 will also vote for India. Okay. All the members who became eligible to vote because his or her country got eliminated voted for India. So China was ineligible to vote in round 1, but can vote in round 2. It would have voted for India. China. Now, see this wonderful thing. Certain things that we can infer. India, from first round to second round, has gained 13 more voters. 13 more voters. 9 from China, 3 from South Africa, and 1 China. If it has gained 13 more voters, India would have received 21 votes in the first round. And given that we know the total number of votes in the first round, total number of votes in the first round is 111. So 14 plus 15, 29, 29 plus 27, 56, 56 plus 34 is 90, 90 plus 21. Russia received 21 votes in the first round. Additionally, in the second round also, Brazil and Russia will continue with the same number of votes because Brazil has not received any extra votes from China. Brazil has not received any extra votes from South Africa, and anybody who voted for Brazil, Russia, or India continued to vote for them. So this will continue to be 21. This will continue to be 34. Okay. Now the storyline from round 2 to round 3. Pay attention, round 2 to round 3. South Africa is becoming ineligible. South Africa is becoming ineligible to vote. South Africa is becoming eligible to vote in round 3. So can I say South Africa is voting for India in round 3? South Africa has come in and voted for India in round 3. Additionally, of the 17 voters for South Africa, these 5 are now ineligible to vote in the subsequent round because they voted for China in the first round, they voted for South Africa in the second round, and a member country is allowed to vote for only maximum of 2 countries in all rounds combined. So these 12 voters will go to these different, will get distributed between Brazil, Russia, and India. So these 12 voters, get out of the way, 21 to 23. So 2 are going from South Africa to Russia. 9 are going from South Africa to Brazil, and 1 is going from South Africa to India. And yes, we have all our brilliant people identified. Everyone is uniquely determined where they are going. Now see, when we are moving on to the next round, and hopefully this too can also be identified this way. Somebody who voted for South Africa earlier and then voted for Russia, from round 3 to round 4, the expectation is our count of voters should have gone up by 1. We should have reached 109. But the fact that it is going 107, it means 2 people voted for South Africa earlier and have now voted for Russia. Both these countries are out of contention, so 2 people are getting banned. Out of these 23, 2 people are getting banned. So 21 voters are moving on to this round. Now, from these 21 voters, can you see in the next round, India will have at least 43 voters. Why I'm saying 43 voters is India will have 40. It already had 42 in the previous round. And Russia will definitely come here. Russia will definitely come here. Russia will definitely vote for India. And about Brazil, we know it has to be also 43 plus, but because it says Brazil won the final thing, out of 107 votes, Brazil at least has 54. Brazil won the final thing. It would mean out of 107, majority of it, Brazil is greater than equal to 54 and India is less than equal to how much? 53. Brazil is greater than equal to 54. Out of 107, if Brazil is winning, it has majority of the votes. So Brazil has to be greater than equal to 54 and India has to be less than equal to 53. Both of them are 43 plus, but Brazil is definitely winning because of the table that is given. We have interpreted this table in entirety. Let's get to individual questions. How many votes did South Africa get in round 1? South Africa got 15 votes in round 1. So answer has to be option A. How many members who voted for South Africa in round 2 voted for Brazil in round 3? South Africa in round 2 and Brazil in round 3. There were 2 such people. who voted for South Africa in round 2, and South Africa in round 2 and Brazil in round 3. There were 9 such people. So answer to the second question should be 9. How many countries are members of the federation? Now see, in the first round, total count of votes was 111. And at this time, 5 countries were in contention. 5 countries were still participating in this process. So these 5 members are ineligible, which would mean how many members, how many countries are members of the federation? Those 111 who voted and the 5 who are in contention. Altogether, 116 countries would be member of the federation. At most, how many members who voted for India in round 4 had voted for Russia in round 3? Okay. We need maximum number of people who had voted for India in round 4 and had voted for Russia in round 3. Hopefully, you'll realize out of these 23, only 21 are eligible to vote in the subsequent round. 2 are disbarred. So out of those 23, India was already at 43, 42 from earlier voters plus Russia coming in. And India has to be less than equal to 53. So maximum how many voters can India receive from Russia? Maximum how many voters can India receive from Russia? It can only be 10. And therefore, answer to the 4th question has to be option C. 5th question, how many votes did India get in the first round of voting? How many votes did India get in the first round of voting? India got 27 votes. And finally, in any round of voting, what was the maximum difference between the maximum number of votes received by a country and the minimum number of votes received by a country? Okay. In round 1, difference between the max and the min votes was 20. In round 2, difference between the max and the min votes was 23. India had 40 and South Africa had 17. In round 3, difference between max and min, 43 and 23 was again 20. In round 4, one extreme case would be those 21, the minimum case would be when Brazil received 54 votes in total and India received 1. So the difference could be anywhere from 1 to see all those, if all the 21 people who had voted for Russia in round 3 voted for Brazil in round 4, all those 21 people who voted for Russia in round 3 voted for Brazil in round 4, still you would get 43 plus 21, 64 here. And you would have 43 here. 64 to 43. What will be the difference in this case? 21. 21. So when the question asks me in any round of voting, what was the maximum difference between the maximum number of votes received by a country and the minimum number of votes received by a country, the answer has to be 23. And that is the entirety of this set. This is based on a prior year CAT set. Something about countries hosting IOC, Olympics and everything. Fun set, I think 2006 or 2007 CAT. Brilliant logic and everything. Hopefully you were able to understand. I used different colors because you should be able to see which voters have shifted from which place to which place. That should help. Next set. This was very much an RC set. And hopefully we used our reading skills appropriately to get to correct answers. Shyam Supermarket is one-stop shop for all customers of Hullabaloo City. Supermarket deals in only 10 types of things: bread, chocolate, soap, geometry box, pens, pencils, cups, mobiles, juice, and water bottle. The following table shows cost and selling price of 1 unit of each article. Okay. I have CP given of everything. I have SP given only for pencils. And I have sales per day in units. And there is a range given. We don't have the precise number, but we have a range. Okay. Also in the column named sales per day, the range of number of units sold in a day is given. And the following information is also given. Okay. SP of anything ranges from 16 to 40. Okay. SP is always greater than equal to CP. Okay, so there was no loss on any article. All transactions are in cash because the supermarket does not follow credit policy. Okay, all articles are bought in the starting of the month by the store. Okay, so they're basically saying inventory is not a problem. Every customer buys exactly 1 unit of any article. Okay, a person buys a pen only if he buys a soap. Okay, so if you have bought soap, it implies you have definitely bought a pen. Okay, also a person buys a cup only if he buys a pen. Oh, no, I have misinterpreted this. A person buys a pen only if he has bought a soap. And a person buys a cup only if he has bought a pen. So if somebody has bought a cup, I can say he has bought a pen, which would backwards imply that he has bought a soap. Okay. A person buying any article out of soap, pen, or cup is called a silver customer. But a person buying all the 3 articles is called a golden customer. In other words, anyone who has bought a cup is a golden customer. Anyone who has bought a cup is a golden customer. Soap, pen, and cup, yes. Okay, first question. Find the minimum possible profit percentage of the supermarket for a day. If I want minimum possible profit percentage, I will make sure that the SP in each of these situations, is exactly equal to CP. Because of the second condition, SP is always greater than or equal to CP. Basically, apart from pencils, I will ensure there is no profit anywhere. Now, the extra thing that I have to take care of is in pencils, I will, and everywhere else, in pencils, I will ensure that sales per day is just one minimum value. And everywhere else, sales per day is the larger value. Because in that case, my total cost price will increase, but my profit will reduce. Okay, so let me get bread. Cost price of bread 24 into 5 would be 120. For chocolates, 22 into 5, 110. Then I have 20 into 11, 220. Then I have 16 into 5, 80. 30 into 6, 180. 30 into 1, 30 into 1. 36 into 5, 180. 36 into 10, 360. 180 again, 18 into 10, and 28 into 5, 140. Okay. I have to add all of these up and I will take profit of 6. So cancel, I get 500. 500 plus 300, 800. 800 plus 540 is 1340. 1370. 1370 plus 230 is 1500. No, 1370 plus 230, 1600. Okay. So altogether, I get a profit of 6 rupees, cost price of 1600, but I need it in percentage form. So it has to be in 200. Cancel. So I get 3 by 8, which is equal to 0.375%. So answer will be option C. Next, if the SP of every article is same, find the maximum profit possible in rupees in a day. Okay. Now the question says SP of every article is same. We already know SP of one article. So SP has to be identical everywhere. Also, we are looking to maximize profit. So now sales per day in terms of unit, we would want max value everywhere. So profit for bread would be 12 into 5, 60. Let me just write it here, 60. Then here it would be 14 into 5, 70. 16 into 11, 176. 20 into 5, 100. 6 into 6, 36. 6 into 2, 12, 0 here, 0 here, 18 into 10, 180, and 8 into 5, 40. I simply have to add up these numbers. So cancel, cancel. I get 100. Another 100, 200, 270, 450, 498. So 674. Maximum profit possible in rupees in a day is going to be 674. You simply have to multiply the profit value for each of these articles with the maximum sales per day in units, and you will reach your answer. Next, find the maximum possible profit in rupees made by supermarket in a day by only silver customers. Silver customers would be those who have bought soap or pen, not those who have bought cup, because if you bought a cup, you would have definitely bought a pen, which in turn would mean you would have definitely bought a soap. So we are looking to maximize our profit from soap and pen. Okay. For soap, maximum possible profit. We also have this information. SP of anything ranges from 16 to 40 rupees. So for soap, maximum possible profit would be 20 rupees, and sales per day, maximum units would be 11. So I get 220 from here. And for pens, I have 30. So 10 into 6 I would have to do. Altogether, I would get 280 here. That has to be the answer. Basically, not a very intelligent question, but something that requires you to pay attention to the different subparts here. Find the maximum possible total sales in rupees by the supermarket in a day. Again, maximum possible total sales. Maximum possible total sales. Can we hopefully see sales would be maximized if I take SP of everything as 40, because that was the upper limit given, and sales per day to be maximum for every value given. So all I have to do is add up these. 5 plus 5 is 10, 10 plus 11 is 21, 21 plus 5 is 26, 26 plus 6 is 32. I'm skipping over the pencils part because SP is given here. So I forgotten the number. 22 plus 32. We were at 32. 5 plus 5 plus 11, 21, 21 plus 5, 26, 26 plus 6, 32. Okay. 32 plus 30, 62. So the maximum possible value would be 62 into 40 plus 36 into 2, or 72. 62 into 40 would be 2480 plus 72. So if I add these up, my final answer will be 2552. Hopefully this is a fairly simple set. It is just that this is the kind of set which, with a calm mind, you can do under 5-6 minutes with trying to look for variation. I'm sure somebody in the solving would have come up with the idea, oh, the selling prices have to be different, so I'll take 40 here, 39 here, this here, that here. Don't do that nonsense. Whatever simple instruction is given, just follow it. You will reach your answer. Of course, the first one is far more interesting to engage with. Hopefully you learned something. That will be all for this episode. Okay, bye.